Hey friend, I'm Matthias, the trusted advisor for Microsoft Fabric. Here we slow down, go deeper, and make space for good decisions. I'll share the why behind the how with real demos and patterns you can trust. Take a breath, grab a coffee. You are not doing this alone.
Hi, this is about agentic development, and I will guide you through this. I'll speed up the video a little bit from time to time. So basically, we start with business requirements. We will deploy a Power BI report with agentic development. So we have written down all the requirements for this report. So some rules, deployment rules, naming conventions, and so on, but also the business requirements and some deeper technical information like where to deploy stuff, so the so-called global deployment rules. How should we behave inside the folder structure, and what are some generic do's and don'ts? So, for example, relationship syntaxes and so on. Basically, the idea is that we can reuse this document for almost every agentic development. And this one is specific, right? And we have also an information at the beginning. It's a little bit like the system prompt, who are you? So let's start. Please review the attached requirements. This is a kind of a test for the AI. We are using GPT-5, by the way, here, to see whether the AI is capable of understanding the requirements. So it's working on it. This is, by the way, real time, as I mentioned. The later videos I've speed up a little bit. The whole process took about 25 minutes overall. So now it's reading all the documents. You see that Copilot, GitHub Copilot is in agent mode, which means that it can more or less remote control my Visual Studio Code. So the agent mode reads all the documents, not just the one that's open, but I've explicitly shared the one that's open with the chat window. And now we get back all the requirements, so we could cross-check. This, by the way, looks good. I cross-checked that, not in this video, but before. So I can honestly write, hey, this looks fantastic, go ahead and implement that stuff. And when I hit return, then the GitHub Copilot will basically, and now the video is speed up. This takes longer in real time, right? So now the speed up starts. You see that. So it's basically going through the requirements. There's also a long CSV with the tables and the field names and field types and so on, everything in there, is analyzing the stuff and is creating the semantic model on behalf of me with TMDL, which is honestly amazing, I think. And you see everything that it's doing on the right side in the chat window. There is like an internal change done because at the end you can check everything that the agent did and accept or decline. So there was an like timeout issue. So I was mentioning, the chat was mentioning, hey, I work in quite a long time. Is it still okay? And I clicked OK, and then it continues. So and you see it at the top. There was also a short error message because of GPT-5. I assume it's just because the model was released, right? So now it's creating all the different files, and now it's starting to check everything that was created against the best practice analyzer. So it's like a feedback channel. It's quite interesting. So the best practice analyzer gives feedback, says, hey, this will work, this will not work, this is kind of good syntax, this is kind of bad syntax. And then the agent, together with the large language model, is applying patches on the different files. You see that with the lines in, the lines out, and is improving. And after each improvement, there's again like a feedback cycle. So this is why this testing takes quite a long time. But it's worth it because the first shot solution would not work in the end. There were syntactic errors inside. So it's now checking again and again and again and again with the best practice analyzer. You see there's run BPA on something, and that's kind of repeating. And now we see all the files that were changed, right? The sales PBIP, this is the Power BI report, and the PBIR, and all these files, TMDL files, and so on. And you see also the buttons keep and undo. Of course, in this case, you will keep it, but when you have a working report and you just want some improvements, which is a valid scenario, then you might want to check, and if this runs in the completely wrong direction, then you can just undo the stuff, right? So it's still working again, and checking all the files. This is like the feedback phase. For me, this was quite interesting, that the feedback phase is a little bit like even longer than the creation phase, or maybe it's more or less equal. So it takes some time. And I did it a little bit later that day with the same data. And it turns out that at that point, the large language model behaved a little bit different. So I got more questions in between, which was funny. So now the things happen. Well, great news, right? Implementation is complete and validated. Now I get a list of everything that was done, which is kind of nice. This is again real-time speed, and now it asks me whether I want to add a short README section summarizing the model measures. I type yes, please, and then it's creating the README. It's like a summary, and you could publish it together with your report. Of course, you could also do like a change log, and so on. So the possibilities are honestly endless, in my opinion. And this is again real-time speed, so you see this takes a while, but there are from time to time some interaction. So it's not really to have time off away from keyboard, but you should stay at the moment, right? So this is kind of new. At the moment, you need to stay near your computer when you do that stuff. And well, now we get the README. README is published. This is the README, and is basically it added, because there was in repo README, it added something at the end of that file. So this is kind of cool. So I think the next step would be to see the report. Since this is a dummy database, we will not have any visuals. It's purely about the data model and the creation of the report file. So we see it here. It's opening, and then we will see in a minute the Power BI report. There we go. Yeah, and it's just opening, and we can see the data model, right? So as Power BI takes also some time. And all the measures and everything is created, right? You will see it in a second. There are all the measures out of the definition. So there are even, in my opinion, more measures than kind of normal fields. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for attending. Well, it's really cool.
Appreciate your time. Tell me, what decision is on your desk next week? I will shape the next episode around it. See you soon, and remember, clarity beats hype.